Hey guys, I'm Creed and welcome to Disappointing Turtle, where we bring you the very best of Guns of Glory. Today I'll be sharing with you some of my top 10s for starting out. Sweet, okay, so number one, join an alliance that you like. So it can be your alliance or somebody else's alliance, but the best advice would be to join an alliance. This is going to be how you can get into that magnificent top 10, whoop whoop, and also where you're going to get resources and advice from those really kind people that are just ready and waiting to help you out. And on that basis as well, this is also going to be where you make your friends. And everybody loves a friend. Unless you're a troll, in which case they tend to not like friends. So, yeah, big events. You end up getting to do some extra events that other alliances don't get to do. Number two, do your dailies. So I try and log on at least twice a day onto all 5 of my accounts to make sure that I'm doing my dailies. Really easy rewards, I think anyway, and also a lot of the things that are on there actually add towards your honour challenge as well. So you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, if you like. So you've got Mystic Jackpot in there, which I think is quite a good one, really, although I have never won it. If you have, please leave a comment below. I would love to know if any of you have actually ever won it. But in here, every now and again, you do get a good bit of gold. I would say that I do get gold actually daily, although it isn't the jackpot. But you also get the books that you need for upgrading your Hall of War. So I would go onto jackpot at least once a day, maybe spend 100 gold in there, and you'll probably actually get a return from that anyway. So also you've got killing threats, gathering, and crafting equipment. All of these things go towards Ola Challenge. Research as well, and obviously things like troop building. All of these things are obviously really good because then you're constantly building up your estate on a daily basis, even if you're just adding little bits to it each time. Talent trees. Depending on what you're aiming to do, depends on how you want to set your talent trees up, really. You just want to focus on one, whether it's balance, economy, or war. You might want 1 or 2 of the other things because it enables you to have other talents like instant yield, which is why I've got war and economy. But generally, you want to set your castles up so that they are either aimed towards gathering and harvesting or so that they are aimed towards war. Obviously, with your main castle, you want it tailored towards war, and with your farm castles, you want it tailored more towards farming. Build up your creation. So this is the one thing that I think people get really bored of quite quickly. It is a little bit tedious, so they tend not to spend too much time in this area. But the creation's really important if you want to get all the really good stuff in Catacombs Trader. And it's not just things like resources, but I'm talking about those all-important healing speed-ups, defense and attack boosts, the accolades and the coat of arms. Coat of arms was brilliant when you're back in the early days. They're obviously very basic, but when you're just starting out, that's going to give you an instant boost onto your airship. Absolutely worth getting. You also get some great stat boosts as you push through the catacomb levels, starting off at 10% increase on health, attack and defense, and going up to 30%, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Don't compare sizes. Obviously, by this, I'm referring to your castle size, and I think sometimes people stop playing the game because the other people around them are growing a little bit faster. But this comes down to 2 different factors, time and money. People have different financial obligations, so can spend different amounts of money investing. I personally don't put any money into the game, and I know lots of other people that play like that as well. The second one is time. You might be somebody that sits on it for 12 hours a day or half an hour. Get your free stuff. So don't forget to get your login rewards, which you get every day, and you also get daily speed ups in the daily deal tab as well. Depending on how you've got your talents set up, I always get insta yield as well. I get that every 12 hours, I think it is. Also, a lot of your rewards you'll be able to get from Musketeer Fort. So if you're a high enough level to be taking part in Musketeer Fort, then you get war docks and loads of resources for there. Like, genuinely, they do actually help quite a bit, especially if you're just troop training. Also, guard recruits, you get a certain amount free every day, and munitions exchange as well. So depending on how much you've leveled that up will depend on how many times you can trade in there before it starts charging you gold. But if you do have like a few, sometimes it's quite handy if you just need a little bit of iron or a little bit of silver. But generated over time, that's quite a lot of stuff, so it's things that you don't really want to be missing out on. So get a farm, or as many as you can literally cope with, because you are going to need those resources. When you get around C16, C20, it starts to get really expensive to do stuff. When you have these farm accounts, they are going to basically prop up your main account. So you don't really want to invest too much time into these accounts. Just go on, do your dailies, you know, as you start working stuff up. So when you start opening up spirit mines and things like that, then you need to be working those and making sure that you're getting all the free stuff from them as well. But all of those things you need to save, and literally just save absolutely everything. Then when it comes to doing those really expensive upgrades on your buildings, or even if it's just doing war books and things like that, you've then got a backup of all of those resources somewhere else that you're not necessarily using. You can just dip into on those circumstances. I've clearly been a little bit naughty here and haven't been on my farm for a little while, but that's because I've been making YouTube videos, so, you know, swings and roundabouts. Make sure you get a farm. It's really, really important. Get a farm, get a massive castle. That is the goal at the end of the day, right? Save everything for seasonal events. So this is one thing that I tell my alliance all the time, is that you need to be squirreling literally everything away. I work on the premise that when you're doing these little events, all you're getting is resources. So you're using really good things and getting rewarded with stuff that you can buy. You can get it in the spirit mines or the catacombs and various other places across the game. Whereas if you hold on to all of those things, then you can put them into the big events like the Easter events and the Christmas events and the Valentine's. There's always one, roughly around every 4 to 5 weeks. And you can get some really, really cool stuff and literally watch your power numbers just absolutely skyrocket. Don't waste your gold. So this works on the same sort of premise as the one before. I know it's really, really tempting to pay for those speed ups with a little bit of gold, but no matter how tempting it gets, don't do it. There's other events where you need to be saving that up for, Kingdom Raid being one of them. Ports are an absolute nightmare, so obviously the more gold that you have, the more porting you're going to be able to do. And finally, number 10, level all your buildings before reaching C35. And this one is a little bit of a bonus tip, as I would like to call it, but essentially when you do have these big events, you get a 50% buff or a 33% buff, I think it is. Correct me down below if I'm wrong in the comment section. But once you go past C35, you do not get these anymore. So spend your time leveling up all those buildings before you go to C35. Thank you very much for joining me. This is Creed, and you've been watching Disappointing Turtle.